morning, guys. I just want to say that it's 7:01 and he is still sleeping. Look at this beautiful angel. That's so good. I'm so proud of you. Your first time sleeping from 7 to 7? What? We caught it on camera? We caught it on camera? Okay, today we're gonna do a Q&A as I go about my day. Just gonna answer some frequently asked questions since I'm now over 3 months postpartum. Lots of questions on the schedules and what I did to get him to sleep through the night. And I've talked about this so many times, and the last thing I wanna do is come off as a know-it-all. I do not wanna come off that way. So I feel like I should get a tattoo on my forehead that says every baby is different. You can go back and watch up to my first week postpartum. 1 week after giving birth, we had him on a loose schedule, and I really do think having a daytime schedule helps a lot. And I know that can be overwhelming, but it's really, to me, it's not that difficult if you don't worry about the nap so much and just focus on the feed time. So the feed times have to be set in stone. Whether he's sleeping, you wake him up to feed. If you can lock in your feed times, the naps will flow naturally, and naps are more flexible. Schedule mom for life. Every baby is different. I follow the moms on call schedule at the moment, and luckily you can go back and watch almost every single day of his life and see exactly what we've been doing. But yeah, tonight was the first night that he slept 7 to 7. We'll see if it continues. I'm about to put him down for his first nap, and I wanted to answer the question on if motherhood was harder or easier than I expected. And I'm gonna say that I think it was easier than expected, and I think that's just because I'm a generally negative, anxious person, so I was anticipating like the worst case scenario, and it turned out to be better than I thought, and he is just the most amazing baby. I love him so much, obviously. That being said, I wanted to talk about the phrase that people say a lot, which is, now I finally have a purpose, or bless you, or like, I was created to be a mother, or now I finally have a reason to live, or things like that, phrases like that I'm sure you've heard before. Those were very hurtful to me as I was going through infertility, because it kind of implies that if you don't have children, you don't have a real purpose, or your purpose isn't as meaningful as other people who are parents. And I just don't think that's true. Yes, I do feel more fulfilled, and obviously having a child is like the biggest blessing, and it opens up a part of your heart that you didn't know existed. But you can also get that from other areas of life, and I think it has to do a lot with self-sacrifice. So when you have to self-sacrifice your wants and your needs and your desires for someone else, for a baby, that in and of itself is so fulfilling. But you can also achieve that from serving the public, serving at your church, serving in other ways, and self-sacrificing in other ways, serving in your marriage, in your school, whatever it is. That also brings a similar level of fulfillment. So I just wanted to say that because I know a lot of you are still struggling to conceive. My life was meaningful back then, and it's meaningful now. And looking back, I did have such a meaningful life, but it's not like, oh my gosh, now I'm like fulfilled. No, we still struggle. We still, there are still moments in my day where I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Like, should I be doing more? Is there something else missing in my life? And ultimately, I believe that that hole in our heart can only be filled by God and by Jesus. Let's take a nap. I'll see you in a little bit, okay? Bye-bye. Good night. I also want to say, no, this video is not sponsored by Element. I just genuinely drink one every single day. I also want to say that I have really stepped into my homemaking era. Like, I'm about to make some chocolate protein muffins. I'm also going to make some chicken salad for AJ's lunches for the week. He actually took some PTO today, so if you see him in the house, that's why. Which honestly kind of threw me off, because I'm like, I'm gonna be answering a Q&A today. I don't want you listening to my answers. But I feel like a new piece of me is being discovered. You guys know I've struggled for years with cooking and just being that more like trad wife. I'm not saying I want to be a trad wife necessarily, but I've always struggled with fitting into that norm. And not that you have to. Okay, too many disclaimers. Basically, I've struggled with cooking and maintaining that aspect of my home life, but I feel like now that I have a little bit more time on my hands, I'm not working a job where I have to be away from the home, I feel so much more relaxed and like able to be in my feminine energy. And I'm a big believer in feminine versus masculine energy, but basically what I'm trying to say is that ever since entering this stay-at-home mom life, I feel like it makes sense. It brings me peace and I feel good. Like when you know you're working a job that you don't love or you're not passionate about, you feel it in your gut and you have that dread when you wake up and you're like, oh, I have to go to work today. But I do not feel that at all throughout my day. No Sunday scaries, none of that. And I feel like that's a sign that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Plans on returning to work is another big question. You guys, I literally have no idea. Another question was childcare. So who would watch my baby when I go back to work? And that's honestly the biggest still like question that I have. I'm not against going back to work part-time. I was working 3 days a week before I had Jesse. So I would not be able to sustain that 3 days a week and also maintain the lifestyle that I have now and also be able to put out 1 to 2 videos a week for you guys. So if I go back, it would be honestly 1 day a week. And then at that point, I have to ask the question, is it worth it? Not only for myself, but also for the practice. Like, is the practice, the dermatology office, are they benefiting from me being there 1 day a week? So still up in the air, I'm just gonna be honest. I've just been really enjoying my current lifestyle. It's amazing. And I am someone who gets bored easily, who needs a lot of stimulation and activity. But I feel like having YouTube as an outlet, having a hobby that I can also make money from and be allowed to stay at home with my baby is like literally the biggest blessing. So I want to say thank you guys so much for watching my videos. Anyone who's watched even 1 minute of my video, like that means so much to me. I'm able to still help provide for my family, but also be able to watch my baby full time, and it's just the biggest blessing. But I also understand working moms, because if I didn't have this outlet, this thing that I could pour my creativity into, like when he's napping, I love filming, editing, making thumbnails, posting on Instagram. Like that brings me happiness. That's a passion of mine. So if you are a stay-at-home mom, I recommend finding a hobby or something to pour yourself into that isn't your baby, because I think that will make motherhood a little bit more enjoyable and more sustainable. Okay, let's make our protein muffins. Last week I made blueberry protein muffins, and this week I'm gonna make chocolate kodiak muffins. So the ingredients are 1 box of this muffin mix, 1 core power chocolate flavor, and then any yogurt of choice. I saw that the person I found it from did a salted caramel flavor, so I'm doing an Oikos salted caramel. I'm also gonna throw in an egg. Question on how I deal with mom hate since I share my motherhood journey online. I did share something on my Instagram recently about a comment that like rubbed me the wrong way, but overall I don't think I get a lot of hate, like comparatively. Like I genuinely think my community online is one of the best. Like you guys are so freaking supportive, even when I do make mistakes, and obviously I'm a human, I'm not perfect. I feel like you guys are so empathetic, but of course there is that 1% of people who always has something to say. Honestly, I'm the type of person to where it doesn't usually bother me, and honestly what people say behind my back I couldn't care less about. So overall, I think I do have that kind of personality where I just don't really care what people think about me. I think my parents did a really good job of instilling that kind of like internal confidence. I think you need that kind of thick skin if you're gonna do this type of job, and it's definitely not for everybody. If it bothered me enough, I would stop posting, but it doesn't bother me that much. Also, I need to get a different bowl. I got this bowl when we first got married from Walmart, and the color of it is like throwing me off, but I never purchased another bowl. Yes, I am fully formula feeding. How did I transition to combo feeding? So I don't want to beat topics to death because I feel like I cover this in a lot of my vlogs, but I know not everyone watches every video. He fully got breast milk up until 8 weeks, and then from like 8 to 10 weeks we combo fed, and then we transitioned to formula. We started combo feeding in the hospital because we had to supplement at that time with formula before we switched exclusively to breast milk. So another question was on how I got him to take a bottle, and I think just introducing it super early is the key. We introduced it on his 2nd day of life, and he had no choice but to drink because he was hungry. So I don't have other advice other than introduce it early, and he had no problem combo feeding. I think people are scared of it because it can be scary because you don't know how your baby's gonna react, but just give them a bottle of formula and usually it'll just go fine and they'll take it and it'll be fine. I'm also gonna throw in about 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. All right, he's up from his nap and we have a coffee stain on this, so I'm gonna take this off and throw it in the wash. Question on what I studied in school. I studied finance. I thought originally that I wanted to be a corporate lawyer, but then I quickly realized that that wasn't for me. I really enjoyed reading and writing in school. I felt like that was my strength over the sciences. So if anything, I wanted to be something business related, something lawyer. Then I found YouTube and this is my passion. Question on how we came up with the name Jesse John. Jesse has been a name that we've just always liked. I've always liked the name Jesse, so has AJ. And it actually means God is real, which was super meaningful to me because I struggled with my faith a lot through my TTC infertility years. And it was something that I questioned a lot, was like, is God real? It was something that I really struggled with and pondered through. And I didn't even know that Jesse meant God is real until after we had already chosen the name. I kind of went into it knowing that I wanted the name Jesse, but I also prayed about it and I said, God, if you have a different name for this baby, please let me know. It just felt really, really right. And I found out that it meant God is real. And I was like, okay, this is definitely supposed to be his name. And then John, my father's name is John. It's a classic name. We love the name John. And I like AJ and JJ, so we can call him JJ if we want. He can go by that if he prefers. But honestly, we've just been calling him Jesse. That just comes more naturally to me. But some people call him JJ and it's fun. How's your C-section scar? It's actually healing really, really well. It's very small. So when you're pregnant or like freshly postpartum, your skin is very stretched out. So the scar looks bigger. But now that my skin has gone back to its original size for the most part, the scar is like this big and it's nice and neat and it looks really nice. I'm really happy with it. Do you do tummy time just after the baby eats or when do you time it? So I try to give it a little bit of time after he ate, otherwise he'll just throw up here everything he eats. He does spit up, as you can see, during tummy time, but if I wait at least like 30 minutes after eating, that's when I do the tummy time, usually right before his next nap so that he can get that energy out. All right, the muffins are done. Let's do a taste test. I'm also boiling some chicken breast because I'm going to make some chicken salad. This is what they look like a very dark looking muffin. This is what the inside looks like. Now these are even better than the blueberry ones, guys. And the chocolate chips that I added. Ugh. So I made my own recipe on MyFitnessPal so that I could calculate the macros. Each muffin, I made 12 muffins. Each one is 201 calories, 5.4 grams of fat, 31.2 grams of carbs, and 10.2 grams of protein. It's a big muffin too. All right, he's in the carrier. We're gonna do a carrier nap shortly. Can you talk about your different streams of income? Sure, so my main stream of income is this YouTube channel, and I make money through the ads that play on the videos. When you click on a YouTube video and there's an ad, I make a very small percentage of that. I think it's like less than a cent per view or something crazy like that, but I do make money from those. I also make money from the different brand deals that I have, which is when I actually promote a product or a service on my channel. So that's the main way that I personally make money. Secondarily, I'm technically still an employee of the dermatology practice that my family owns. I was working there 3 days a week, so my secondary form of income was my part-time job there. And then my husband has a full-time job. He works as a pharmaceutical scientist. His job is awesome. It's super flexible. They gave him 12 weeks paid paternity leave. Okay, so his job is amazing. He's also currently in school. He's studying right now online for software engineering. Hopefully he will graduate this year with his degree in software engineering because he kind of wants to pivot into that career field. He also likes to invest and trade stocks, so he does that in his free time as well. We also have investments and savings accounts. So we have a high yield savings account, which I highly recommend everyone signs up for, as well as an investment account, which is where if you have any money left over at the end of the month and you already have your emergency fund, I recommend putting it into some sort of automated investment account so that you can earn money in the market without having to do anything. Speaking of finances, now that we have a baby, life insurance is something that we never really thought about before, but now that we have Jesse, we want to make sure that he's taken care of. God forbid something happens to me or AJ. So we are signing up for term life insurance along with a couple of other investment things with Fabric by Gerber Life. And they are kind enough to be working with me in today's video. But this is such an important topic, and I love talking about finances because it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and not think about our long-term future. But when you have a kid, it really changes the way you look at life. And for us, we want to make sure that he is taken care of. So the way life insurance works, if you're not familiar, is if something were to happen to you, the parent, there would be a payout for your child or whoever you designate as the recipient. With Fabric, it's really quick. You can do it from your couch. You could be covered in under 10 minutes with no health exam required. If you have kids and you're young and healthy, the time to lock in rates is now. They have amazing plans that are so affordable. For example, $1 million of coverage for less than $1 a day. They have a 30-day money-back guarantee and you can cancel at any time. They also have UGMA kids investment accounts and free digital wills. money grows over time. The earlier you start, the less money you're gonna have to put in to get that return. Join the thousands of parents who trust fabric to help protect their family. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/RachelVin. That's meetfabric.com/RachelVin, meetfabric.com/RachelVin. How has motherhood affected your marriage? This has been a question that I've been getting, but I've honestly been avoiding it just because I don't want to seem like I know everything, and this is a topic that I feel like I could definitely improve on in terms of like being a better wife. I got so lucky with AJ. I feel like he has been blowing me away with how amazing of a father he's been, like since day one of me having him and the C-section and everything. I cannot even describe how helpful he's been, to the point where, like I said, it makes me question my worth. Like, what do I bring to this marriage? Because I am like I feel like I'm nowhere near as serving and self-sacrificial as he is, and I think God is using that to teach me, and I feel like I could do such a better job at being more like him. And I think God gives us the partner that we need. My strengths complement his weaknesses and his strengths complement my weaknesses. We are strong in different ways, and one of the ways where he is stronger than me is in the self-sacrifice. So going back to the question, how has it affected our marriage? I feel like in that way. So me looking at him and learning from him, and then hopefully at some points he can see how I'm choosing to be a parent and we complement each other in those ways. But it's just brought out a whole new side of us as a team. We make a really good team is what I've realized. We have now this new goal of like raising this child, and it's just brought us together in a team-like way, if that makes sense. I think pregnancy honestly was harder on our marriage than having a baby, because when you're pregnant, you don't, at least I speak for myself, I didn't feel great. And so it was kind of like I was a little bit more on edge, and we didn't have this common thing to unite us. Like, he was inside me, but he wasn't like here, and we couldn't like laugh with him. And now when we bicker or we fight, we just look at Jesse and we're like, this is stupid. Like, we have a son, like, let's get over this. Oh, are you sleeping? That being said, it is challenging in the sense that we have way less time for each other. We barely have time for ourselves, let alone to schedule time to actually interact with each other without the baby. So that's been difficult. But I think what helps is having that foundation in your relationship. So we've known each other we've been together for 10 years. So we have that baseline connection and that friendship. Sounds bad, but if we go days without like really connecting, it doesn't really faze us, I think, because we have those years under our belt and we are best friends. Like, we're genuinely best friends, partners, teammates. The one part we do need to work on is the romantic part. I will say that, like going on dates and getting that spice back. But I feel like that's easier to get back than friendship or teamwork. Like, if you're not friends with your partner and you don't make a good team, like those are harder things I feel like to reach for than, let's say, you're going through a patch where there's not a ton of romance. Does that make sense? So I hope I answered that question. Basically, we're still working through it, but if anything, I feel like it's brought out a side of both of us that we didn't know existed before. And overall, I do think pregnancy is harder on a relationship than a baby. Is that a hot take? Okay, since AJ is home today, I was able to go to the gym. So I actually just finished at the gym, and now I'm going to my chiropractor appointment. I'm gonna answer a few questions. This lighting is crazy though. Does he look more like baby you or baby AJ? Honestly, he's like a perfect mix of the both of us. He definitely has AJ's eyes, like 100%, but he has my ears because AJ has attached earlobes, and he has, I feel like, my lower face, my chubby cheeks. So I feel like I can see more of myself in him as the time goes on. But originally I was like, he's 100% AJ. Interestingly though, we both had like more hair when we were born, and Jesse doesn't have almost any hair, so that's interesting. What's something you didn't expect about becoming a mom? This one's hard for me because I feel like I expected the worst. As I was saying earlier today, I expected it to be very, very difficult. So when it was very, very difficult, I wasn't super surprised. That being said, I guess what really took me off guard was the sleep deprivation. Like, I knew I would be sleep deprived, but I didn't really know what that fully meant and what that would fully feel like. It's the worst feeling in the world. It's like, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It's actually torture to have multiple sleepless nights in a row. So that really took me off guard, but I feel like overall motherhood is just so fun, and especially now looking back, like the first 3 weeks were brutal, but every day gets better and better. But yeah, the sleep deprivation really gets to you. Let's do one more while we're here. Will you do IVF for your next baby or try naturally? I think we're gonna jump right into IVF because we do want to use all of our embryos that we have. So that is definitely the goal. Even though it is more expensive to do it that way than to try naturally, I'd rather do it that way. That's just what my heart is telling me. As for when we're gonna be ready, I predict we're gonna be ready. I feel like I'm ready. I feel like I'm gonna be ready about a year. Once he's about a year old, I'll be ready to start the next one. Good morning. It's the next day. The evening got away from me, so I want to answer a few more this morning. Have you lived in Florida your whole life? Yes, I have. How do you manage your well-being postpartum? By going to the gym and getting back to normal life as soon as possible. And this is also a hot take. I know I'm gonna get negativity for this, but I personally feel like adding a child into your life, of course the child's needs always come first. However, luckily I've been able to find time in my day for myself, and being able to reintroduce those things that make me feel like me, like going to the gym, cooking healthy meals, going on walks, seeing my friends, like prioritizing the things that make me feel good. That's how I take care of myself. Same thing for AJ, for the dad, or for the other partner in the relationship. Both of the partners prioritizing themselves may sound selfish to some people, but that's honestly how you come together and be the best husband and wife for each other and be the best parents for your child. One of the biggest criticisms that I receive is that I'm a bad mom for going to the gym, but I genuinely think that those people just don't understand what the gym or exercise in general can do for somebody, and it just makes me such a better human, a better person, a better wife. Finding time here and there where I can feel like myself is the biggest help. How is your husband with YouTube? It's been nice seeing him more. So AJ's the most supportive person. He like never ever made me feel cringe for starting my YouTube channel back in the day when I had 0 subscribers. That being said, he doesn't love being on camera, so I don't show him too much when he's in the videos. It's just like naturally he's in them. But yeah, I do try to keep my relationship more private than I did in the past, just because I feel more comfortable with that. And there's no reason for me to share that. It's not a couples channel. How did you financially prepare for IVF? So luckily we had insurance that covered most of it through AJ's job. I honestly was not expecting it to be covered, and we were fully prepared to pay for it out of pocket. Like we would have spent our life savings on it if we had to, because that's how ready we were to have children. But luckily we did have most of it covered through his work. About to start IVF, do you have any advice? Or what would I tell myself back when I started IVF? It would be to lose all expectations of timeline and just be flexible with timelines, and don't say, oh, if I'm pregnant by this time, or I'm definitely gonna be pregnant by this time, or don't schedule your life around when you think you're gonna be pregnant, because chances are that timeline's gonna be different from your expectations and you're just signing yourself up for disappointment. So go in with positivity and know that it's most likely gonna work out for you, because scientific studies show that if you pursue past those failure points, chances are you're gonna have a live birth. So go in with positivity, but at the same time, let go of the timeline. So tell yourself that it's going to work out for you. It just may not be in June 2025 or that month that you have on your calendar, if that makes sense. So yes, I will be pregnant one day. I will have this child one day, but it may not be that month or even that year that I want it to be. How do you handle different parenting styles? So luckily, I feel like up to this point, there's not really a lot of parenting going on. The biggest thing that you can have differences on is sleep training, or how to handle that aspect. So luckily we've been pretty much on the same page. We don't do the cry it out method or the Ferber method or anything like that. We do we agree on like a modified approach, which basically means letting him fuss for a few minutes, going in, comforting him, bringing him back down to that baseline. If he starts fussing again, giving him 5 more minutes or however the timeline is, going in, comforting him again. So that's kind of the method that we both think is appropriate. As far as parenting, I guess we're gonna find out, because once we actually start having to discipline him, it's gonna be a whole different world. I did not apply anything to my C-section scar to minimize the appearance. It just naturally is how it is. I will start doing the silicone scar sheets though to help minimize the the appearance of the scar. How soon after embryo transfer did you start working out? I started going back to my routine after my first ultrasound. So ultrasound to confirm there was a heartbeat. That's when I went back to my full-blown routine. However, I would say about 5 days after transfer, after the implantation window passed, is when I went back to the gym. I just didn't go back full force. I did like a less intense version of my weightlifting journey. I felt comfortable doing that. I worked out throughout my entire egg retrieval, except for like when I was super bloated, and I felt really good. What age gap between your kids would you prefer if you could control it? I think 2 years. So like I said, if I wait until he's about a year old before starting the next transfer prep, it'll be a roughly 2-year age gap, and I think that would be really, really good. Is there anything that could have prepared you more to become a mom? I love this question because genuinely, no, I don't think so. And I was that person who wanted to prep for it so bad, but I think you just have to deal with it when it comes. Like, there's nothing you can do. What are you gonna do? Train yourself to sleep less? Like, no. Enjoy your sleep, enjoy your life as it is. When motherhood comes, or fatherhood, you're gonna deal with it as it comes, and you are more resilient than you think. You're smarter than you think. You're gonna learn super quick. Don't stress about it. What you can do, I take it back, you can do something. Identify the things that make you feel good and get into routines of doing those things. So if it's exercise, nutrition, friends, small groups, church, serving, painting, pottery, find your hobbies or identify the things in your life that make you feel amazing and figure out a way to make sure you still do those things when you have a baby. Even if it's sitting down with your partner and saying, hey, once baby comes and we're past that like first 6 weeks of craziness, I'm gonna go to my pottery class every Wednesday at 7 p.m. no matter what. And your partner's gonna be like, yes, I agree. I will support you. And then you say to your partner, what is something that you would like to do for sure every single week? And your partner's gonna be like, I wanna go to the gym every Saturday at 10 a.m. And you're gonna be like, perfect. I will make sure that you are able to do that. I think that is the biggest thing that you can do, is identify those things before baby comes. How is your mental health postpartum? I've touched on this a lot, but basically I struggled more so with anxiety. I feel like I'm getting out of that fight or flight mentality. I am still on my sleeping medication. I'm weaning off though. The first bit is a little bit rough, especially with the first child. I feel like the second one will be a little bit easier because I'll know what to expect and I'll have a little bit more confidence in what to do and what not to do. But overall, I think there's a lot of scaring or fear mongering that goes on with first time moms. Like, just wait. Once you have the baby, you're never going to be able to go to the gym. Once you have the baby, you're never going to sleep. And yeah, it's going to be hard, but like, chill. Okay, and it's gonna be a challenging period, but like there are also so many other challenging things of life that we've already been through and we've already overcome. Like, it's like holding it up on a pedestal almost and being like, no one can have a positive postpartum experience because it's just so hard. And if you have a positive postpartum experience, it's because you're selfish, or it's because you have so much help, or it's because you have a night nurse, which like, who cares? Like, oh. Love you guys. Thanks for asking your questions. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out Fabric by Gerber Life if you guys are interested in signing up for some life insurance or investment vehicles or college funds for your kids. Now is the time when you're younger and healthier than you ever will be in the future. Not to say that you can't be healthier than you are now, but you'll never be younger. If you really want to know, I did an internship actually in college with a life insurance and mutual fund company. And it was very interesting because I learned how it works. And it really is true. The younger you are, the better rates you get. So check it out, link down below. I love you guys so much. See you next time. Bye.